Okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of Aaj Kya Dekhna Hai. Today we're going to be talking about a film that is doing the news cycle a bit of late, Homebound. We both have differing opinions of the film, and we're going to just have like a little bit of a tiff over here. So I'll start. So Homebound is very interesting for me because of the way I discovered it, which is that Martin Scorsese attached himself as an exec producer for this film, which was when I took it seriously a little bit. Of course, it was doing the festival rounds, and of course, it was produced by Karan Johar. There was already like a lot of formidable talent that was already attached to it. But when Scorsese Bhai came on, I'm like, okay, I have to check this out. And the film, for me, it did not work, to be honest. I thought that while I agreed with uh, the formidable technical qualities of the film, the
Mhm.
gaze is what didn't sit quite well with me. And it's something that I take away from a lot of the festival films that do the rounds, especially the one that is produced in Hindi or that has like a wider release than usual, a la All We Imagine Is Light. So it does come from a little bit of a elitist position, but we're going to dig into that.
Yeah.
We'll start with Apurva first. What did you think of Homebound?
Well, uh, same. I think even I came across Homebound because the fact that Martin Scorsese was attached to co-produce,
Hmm.
it made the headlines because of that. I think there was some white backing and
Huh.
the fact that it was able to get a seat at Cannes.
Yeah.
It was Karan Johar plus a lot of influence and a push from
Hmm.
Martin Scorsese as well. That's how I heard of it. And I watched the movie recently when it came out on Netflix, which it is available now.
Yeah.
After, I mean, hearing a lot about like the positive reviews, I went into it with a little bit of expectations, and for
Hmm.
me, the movie worked in some places. I
Hmm.
think beyond the white gaze which was there, I think I agree with Karan on that.
Hmm.
Where it worked was that you could tell that it was made by Varun Grover and the director whose name I forgot again. It's
Neeraj
Neeraj
Ghewal.
Ghewan. Yeah, and both of these folks, it's the duo that made Masan as well.
Hmm.
So when I found out after completing the movie, I was like, oh, this dude made the movie, and then it was Varun
Hmm.
Grover as well, and it's the Masan folks.
Yeah.
It kind of struck a chord with me. Um, I I don't know. I think in terms of movies like Homebound, I do wonder sometimes where it's a very deserving movie. It tells a story from a perspective where it's about the crux of it is nothing related to a strong like social message in a preachy way,
Hmm.
which Homebound was, and I liked that fact. I think it was a circumstance that messaging was more of like the circumstance of these two boys, but at the core of it, it was their friendship and was the
Hmm.
brotherhood, and it's the life that they were living in their home village. What it very subtly and what I liked, one of the things I liked about the movie that did really well was they spoke about or they displayed birth privilege, and if you don't have that, how your life can turn out,
Hmm.
what kind of options you have in terms of a future, in terms of a career, in terms of just being able to get out of that situation that you're in as well. And birth privilege has a lot to do with that, especially in our country. So that was woven very well into the story. But yeah, I think what Karan is saying, there was a pretty strong white gaze, a little bit sanitized on that area as well. And I felt like towards the end, and we're entering spoiler territory, with the onset of COVID, the lockdown, and how that affected millions and like tens of millions of our citizens in the country. It kind of rushed through that. It was like,
Hmm.
let's wrap it up. It's because of this that this happened, and within the last 15 minutes it kind of did its little bit.
Yeah.
um Still worked. I think they still tried to execute it well, but that's not where I was expecting the story to go.
Hmm.
But I'm 50-50 on it. I'm still glad that they incorporated that.
Hmm.
because it's happened very recent. It's in our like collective memory, it's quite recent.
Yeah.
And you and me will never know what, a lot of folks went through when they had to go back home. And that's
Yeah.
also why the movie is called Homebound. It's like this, they have to like make their way back, and then
Yeah.
everything that comes in between that. So
Yeah.
yeah. I would say I liked watching the movie, but in between I felt like it was a bit formulaic and yeah, a little bit of a white gazy, piece.
Yeah. Where I take away the the white gaze is that um you know the framing of the characters. Okay, we forgot to introduce the film. So the Homebound is about two friends, Chandan and who's the Ishan Khattar character?
Shoaib.
Okay, yeah, Chandan and
Shoaib.
Shoaib. And it basically covers their journey from like trying to get into the police force to like trying different jobs just to survive. um the whole aspect of how the person views the character comes from the framing. And if you see the way Chandan or Shoaib have been framed with tight spaces, small spaces, in train compartments, it's like someone never tried to view their life as big because the tragedy is the only thing that's a part of their life. And it's like, even when you have a small life, there are big moments or there are moments that you can see as big. Like for the first
Hmm.
time, like when they're playing cricket, it's that moment, right, where they're having fun. But even that is interrupted by a social situation that can, divide people these
Limit.
days, limit people these
Yeah,
days.
and divide.
I don't know how much to say or
Yeah.
how much to not, but yeah, it's like there are people that can exist beyond the situation that they are in, and they can exist beyond their identity as well as character and people, and not as representation of that particular community. So when it comes
Mhm.
to like, especially how the director views Muslims, for example, a character like Shoaib, who goes to an office party and screams at, say, managers or people who are superior to him because they were calling him out or like jabbing him to be a Muslim. This is a character that has been
Yeah.
used to this kind of things ever since he was a kid. You know, it's just that the director's gaze to present this moment as heroic is because someone wants to tell that, look, I can do this with this character, and not stay
Mm.
true to the reality of the situation, which is that it's often gray. People don't really speak out about these things because
Mm.
it's that community or it's that space. And I think in moments like these is where I felt that the Homebound, like the film, became more about what the director wants to say, or what he feels that, this is what my political understanding is, or this is what my understanding of social situations are, rather than, about Chandan and Shoaib and their life. And it's like hanging out with a couple of people from South Bombay, and they say, "अरे देश में बहुत गरीबी है," you know,
So
बहुत
you
problems
felt
है देश
like,
में.
yeah. So Shoaib and Chandan felt like certain mouthpieces in some sense,
Yeah, it's
for
it's
filmmakers. Yeah.
it's exactly it's like the director doesn't want to buy into their lives fully. It's just like, I will buy into the tragic bits of their life so that I can make a film that channels my political vision of what is supposed to be, whatever is supposed to
Mm.
be like a political film or a socially responsible film.
Yeah.
And whenever it tried to go beyond that, I felt like the film really soared. That's when you said that, when it was about friendship, like when Shoaib and Chandan are like in a lockup, and they, even in that moment, they try to crack a joke, or there is just something
Mm.
that really gives them some sense of relief. Or even the COVID portions, for example, where people like you and me have not seen the situation, and the
Yeah.
gaze in those scenes was very, very empathetic, which is why you buy into it. But after a certain point, I did believe that it's made by someone who wants to make a statement about what kind of person they are. And it's also how I've heard how white people view India in terms of, the amount of people or the dust, and the
We
way
do
the
have those things though.
we
Don't we?
have,
We have the crowd, we have the dust, we have
but we're
the
used to it. No.
I actually I wish that they had expanded a bit more on the day-to-day life of COVID. The moments where they were sitting on the terrace, like all of the friends, Chandan, Shoaib,
Yeah,
and their friends
yeah,
that were working in the mill,
yeah,
playing cards, eating, like sharing food, all of that.
yeah,
I wish
yeah.
the lighter moments were also captured a little bit because I mean, there was this one very typical scene where, Chandan is like, he's scooping out one last piece of the achar, the pickle, and giving it to his friend.
Yeah.
And it felt a little mawkish, honestly.
Hmm.
See what you mean. And
Hmm.
that was one of those moments. I'm like, that definitely happened, but there was a level of humanness kind of missing from it.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just wish that they had kind of built out on those lockdown moments a bit more, and also B, Chandan's family, like his mom and his sister were far more interesting characters, and their storylines were far more interesting to me. When his
Yeah.
mom is trying to get a job at a school, and there's a hurdle there. That scene was very powerful, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I really liked, where you have a bunch of parents opposing the idea that there's
Yeah.
a woman from a different caste feeding their kids.
Yeah.
It's happening right now as we speak, and it's such a normal part of a majority portion of India.
Yeah.
We are just protected away from it.
Hmm.
There were these moments which
We bought
which
our way out of
felt,
it.
yeah, and they felt less orchestrated, and less of like, um you know Neeraj trying to say his version through these characters, but more of actually what was happening to these characters as well. So yeah, I did like those moments in the movie.
Yeah.
With Shoaib, whenever he was working in his job, um it happens a lot. It's very realistic, but yeah, it just felt like I don't know. It felt a little off to me in terms of how he was being treated at work. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens a lot. It happens quite a bit. I feel like the treatment of the scenes could have been a bit different.
Could have been. I think
Yeah.
whenever the movie was close to the actual realities of the director, which is the caste reality, that really soared. Like there is a scene where Chandan goes to ask about, I think those years' results. He's in a government office, and then the guy asks him to sit in a very condescending way, and these small moments,
Mm,
you get to know the gaze of the director, and because it's very close to what he's seen. But whenever it goes away
yeah.
from that, even I would
Mm,
say, especially like the amount of melodrama that was induced in the second half was a factor of the fact that the director has not lived these realities, and it's just that, oh, this is so sad, and I have to show it as sad because that's what it is, and I have to make the first half into this, uh, like, for me, what was also jarring is that the first half and the second half are two completely different films in a way. Like the first half is gave
yeah.
a very 12th fail kind of a, like, okay, these guys are trying to do things and nothing is working out. Then the second half, just the filmmaking language completely changes. It's like it becomes more gritty and more like real, or at least what they perceive to be real. And I'm not quite sure I was ready for that tonal shift. I would have been ready if they were being true to the characters in the first half. I think they were being
Mm.
true to the probably social situation. I don't know what the right way to put it, but the social situation of what they envision central India to be at that point. And yeah, if you see Chandan, like the way Vishal Jetwa has played the character, it's just so rooted. You can see the desperation in his eyes when he's lining up, especially in the COVID scenes where he's lining up for whatever wages that they're getting at that point.
Mm.
But Ishan, no, I don't think it worked totally. But the character who played Chandan's mom, she gets some brilliant
Oh,
scenes.
lovely,
And
lovely actor. Let's pull up her name because I don't.
We should
know
not miss
her
the name.
name.
Yeah, you should not miss the name.
Shalini Vatsa as Phool,
Shalini
Chandan's mother.
Vatsa as Chandan's mom.
Yes. Oh,
What's
she
her
was in
name?
Sacred Games as well and Ludo. Okay. I mean,
Oh,
this is the thing. Like such familiar faces, but then you kind of don't really remember their names, which I don't like that about myself, but it's okay. She was also in Peeply Live. So yeah,
oh,
she's one of the veteran actresses. Yeah.
yeah,
Lovely.
yeah,
She was
yeah,
lovely in the movie. And
yeah.
I wish this movie had, I mean, I know I said this, that the central core part of it was the friendship and the brotherhood. Maybe
Hmm.
another way to have gone about it. And I know it's easier to say this once the, piece is out, once something that someone else has created as art, once you put it out, it's very easy to critique it. That's why we're
Hmm.
sitting here talking about it.
Yep.
But having said that, another treatment of it could have been just exploring these different characters. It's so often that you see experiences of men from different communities and different backgrounds coming in, trying to make it into the world. What about Chandan's sister and her mom and his dad as well? Shoaib's, father and his mom, like a little bit more about their
Yeah.
communities, about
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
the character that this one played, um, who's
Janvi
Apni
Kapoor,
Kapoor, Janvi Kapoor. Yeah,
which
I
was a
think a little
great
bit
casting
around her.
choice, huh?
Bro, she was plot device.
She was plot device, but I like the fact that you can do a reverse casting for a Dalit character. I really thought that
Hmm.
lens worked for me, but the
Yeah,
the way the character was written, yeah, it's just she's servicing the man's story a little bit, and that's not really working.
a little bit. Yeah, exactly. And I completely agree. I think these felt like two movies, the first half and the second half. First half
Hmm.
was very 12th fail.
Hmm.
And the second one was something else. Or I think the second part is what Neeraj was trying to make as the movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it kind of maybe got lost in editing or something, but still a good feat. But I watch a movie like Homebound and I see the kind of attention it gets and see the
Yeah.
kind of PR and marketing and appreciation it gets. And then because again, folks like you and me, we're a little too obsessed with what's happening in the world of cinema and all the movies coming
Yeah.
out. So we're a little more grounded on new
Mm.
releases. We then hear of movies like Santosh or Kennedy trying so hard to make it out there. Even a movie like Agra, right? Trying so hard to just find a distributor, and they just can't. The struggle is so real with them.
Hmm.
And somehow I think we both, Karan and I, were able to watch the movie Agra. We had just, I mean, we had a copy of it. We didn't pirate it, but yeah, we found it because Karan has
We
connections.
watched the release last
And
week actually. She's forgot that. We
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There was
watched
a
the
release
release.
as well. And these movies are also quite deserving of an audience. And maybe, yeah, they might not have such a large mainstream commercial appeal.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's where I wonder, like, did they whitewash a little bit or sanitize Homebound because they wanted it to have a more commercial mass appeal?
Yeah.
Versus when you look at a Santosh where it's telling you as is, and it's
Yeah.
telling you some very, very hard truths. After a long days of work, when you want to unwind with a movie, maybe Santosh isn't the one that you'd go for,
Yeah.
which is why a lot of people think that it wasn't bankable.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, um, is it also a fear of backing a movie as politically charged as a Santosh or even a Kennedy? I don't know how politically charged Kennedy was, but is it part fear of backing something so heavy, or just the fact that people have really short attention spans and they wouldn't really care to watch something like this um these days? What do you think, Karan?
Uh, so with a movie like Homebound, I think that it doesn't really upset the powers that be in any way, right? It's a very subtle, layered, and it ensures that the conversation is also in a very upper class elite circle, and it doesn't go beyond that. whenever I watch like these movies, I always try to ask myself, okay, will Chandan and Shoaib watch this movie, or will people from Chandan and Shoaib's village watch this movie? Probably not a lot of them, and that's the reality because the
Yeah.
screens have only not reached to these places. And
Mm.
there's no way that this movie will make those characters feel seen. It's only probably the lives of Chandan and Shobh will be known to people like you and me, and this conversation will just exist in this small limbo, right? Probably if Sultan is released, Shoaib will go and watch it, and that will be like a good Muslim representation for him because it works, it makes that person feel seen. So I think that movies like Homebound are not stopped by censors or the powers that be because it's harmless, it's not really upsetting anyone. Whereas where the more rooted you get with a movie like Santosh or Agra, right? I think it fears people. It generates some kind of like I don't know an uncomfortable feeling among especially boomer people who don't want to subject themselves to realities that exist around us. A movie like Agra is
Mm.
about a family, but they did not get the screens they need because there was a big movie or because of whatever commercial reason. But I am quite sure that if you show Agra to anyone, they will resonate with it on some level because it's a story about a family and they've stayed true to that dynamic. Homebound is still appreciated by an audience that has that poetic quality about appreciating art and the technical aspects and the grainy film quality and all of the other nonsense that we like to talk about, but it's not reaching people. In spite of having such significant people backing this film, it's probably reaching Cannes,
Hmm.
it's probably reaching Berlin. And sure, those audiences will love to see something like this because it's based on a New York Times article, and there's this small circle in which the conversation can operate. But when it comes to Santosh or Agra, of course, there is no like big cast or like a big cast member who's headlining the project, and that can really affect the release of the film. But I still feel that because of the potent messaging, people will want to kill it just before it really gets anywhere, and people don't want to deal with the
Yeah.
social realities of what can happen if these conversations get spread a little wider than
Yeah.
they should.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something that could be a little controversial, but I think especially in today's day and age, but especially more in our South Asian culture, I think folks across generations, it's not a boomer or a Gen Z thing, but I think Indians like to stay in denial a little bit.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
conversations that we would have publicly versus the things that we consume behind closed doors, they're very contradictory and they look very different. If we were to talk about a movie like Agra, what typically would happen is if I recommended it to someone, yeah, let's say a relative of mine, they'd come to
Hmm.
me and they'd tell me like, "What's wrong with you, Apurva?" But then they might go and like if no one's watching, they'd probably watch that movie,
Yeah.
and they might find some truth to it. Maybe it's too hard for them to accept because
Yeah.
yeah, like oh my God, what am I relating to is
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
almost that level of reality hitting you, which I think a lot of Indians are not comfortable with, and I think on some level it's also a global mindset thing, right?
Hmm.
With movies like Homebound and All We Imagine Is Light, it's now coming out as a very typical archetype of loved by white people and loved by Western civilization, but also gritty enough for Indians, at least in tier one India, to accept it and be like, oh my God, we paid money to watch something like Homebound. We have supported indie filmmaking in India. And now we are more educated and we are more aware. It's a great excuse for people to pat themselves on the back.
Yeah, now I'll go back to
And
Bougie Cafe.
then yeah, I'll I'll go back to doing my identity crisis things where I don't know who I am, whether I'm too Indian, whether I'm not too Indian enough. We're still straddling in between that, right?
Yeah.
And this is a new archetype that's come across. I didn't expect like I never thought that in the early 2000s with a Meera Nair movie or with a lot of the indie stuff that even Konkana would take part in, they didn't feel this way.
Yeah.
But these kind of movies recently in the past, I would say 5 to even 10 years time, they're feeling more of like a safe, harmless sort of a thing.
Yeah.
It talks about a slightly difficult subject,
Yeah.
and it just allows everyone to get that kind of gratification and pat themselves on the back,
Yeah.
and then go home and then, yeah, not
I
talk
have a
about it ever again.
I have a theory about this denial thing, okay? I think like mainly the older generation especially is in denial is because they've really bought into the concept कि मेरा एक नहीं सात जन्म है. And no culture is telling them this, right? So then you're in perpetual कि कल देख लेंगे वाला attitude है ना. So like, I don't have to do anything. And I'll just, life will continue, destiny, and all of these concepts, luck, astrology, everything you buy into, and it's part of this full package where gets done, and you're perpetually mediocre in a way.
It's a different podcast, Karan, but yes, very interesting point.
No, it's just
I think our layers of denial are so many and so heavy. If that's the thing, if you were to come across with any kind of truth, it would shatter your reality in some sense. And I know it's a very abstract thing to say on a movie podcast, but hey, that's what I am
that's where the
sometimes.
conversation is
But
going.
yeah, that's where the conversation, I guess, is going. For the next 1 minute, we'll change gears. But it kind of contributes to why certain topics in art all across the board, I feel like, even across, like, beyond movies as well, they struggle to find really an audience or acceptance on some sense. Is like, oh, I mean, if something is too grotesque for most people, or something is too sexual for most people, or something is too, you know um like what happened again, like a good example would be with censorship, and I think recently with the Savitribai Phule movie, the way that it was heavily censored and then put out.
Yeah,
um Certain groups literally lobbying to make that happen because they didn't want a certain community to be put across negatively, and we know which community it is, right?
we belong to
um
that community.
and then I don't know, bro. I actually don't know for
You
myself, but
see,
yeah, I mean, in a sense, the kind of privilege that we have, we do belong to that
yeah,
community,
yeah,
or like adjacent to that community. Um, it completely ruins the story of someone who actually lived in real time.
hmm,
She did so much for women's education at that point, in Maharashtra, across just like equality, gender equity, and beyond as well.
yeah,
Completely ruining someone's lived experience because it'll not hurt your sentiment, it'll show the world what truly is happening, and that scares you.
yeah,
And then you lobby against it. It's a very conservative approach to things. Like, that's how conservatives these days are working across the world. But
yeah,
we are seeing that in art, and I feel that any kind of entertainment is sort of a mirror to what the collective culture or collective mindset is of
yeah,
people.
yeah.
And I am that's why I'm not like coming across like a provocative movie or
Hmm.
something that will say something, but not for the sake of it, number one. And number two, it just tells a very good story.
Have you not watched the
So
biopic PM Narendra Modi starring Vivek Oberoi?
I will watch it right after this podcast.
It's a good one.
Actually, I will give it a, yeah. I think I can feel it. It's gonna replace one of my letterbox now, top four.
Top four,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. For safety reasons only.
yeah, yeah.
Any closing thoughts?
You know, Thanks for listening,
Thanks for
and
listening, and
thanks
don't
for
cancel
this.
us.
Thanks for the
And
camera,
we do
Shanti.
we
We
don't
love you.
know what we're talking about when it comes to privilege and caste and nothing. We're just giving whatever opinions we have from this tiny little room of ours. So please forgive us if there's any uh, politically incorrect information that we have provided on this podcast?
Hydrate. Stay hydrated.